What's going on, everyone? So we got another potential update in regards to Walker Kessler and a trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. Eric Pincus was talking to Alan Silva about the potential and how the trade would shape up, and kind of exploring like different possibilities that he could see the Lakers acquiring. Right, this is kind of more his opinion, kind of more his thoughts on the situation. Talked about how Danny Ainge is going to be very difficult. Right, he's already being difficult. There's all the reports that have came out about how, Danny Ainge, the Lakers could have already gotten Walker Kessler, but Danny Ainge is very reluctant because he looks at it as like, I don't want to make the Lakers better and then get their picks. And then, because he's looking at it as like, they might have the best picks on the market if Anthony Davis and LeBron James fade away, right? So when we get to that 29 and 2031 pick, it'll actually have some value because LeBron will be retired by then, although he did say he'd play 5 to 7 more seasons. But he'll be retired by then most likely. And then Anthony Davis will either be on the decline or he'll be moved on elsewhere or retired himself, and now you can really get that pick. Danny Ainge's concern lies in, okay, yes, Anthony Davis will start the decline, but Walker Kessler could potentially raise that ceiling to where they're at least good enough to where I'm not getting value out of my pick, right? But Eric Pincus relayed that, obviously Danny Ainge wants to trade Walker Kessler. He doesn't really necessarily see him as that piece, right? And I've said this before, I don't know why Utah wants to trade Walker Kessler. I don't really understand it to begin with, but nonetheless, apparently they do. So if you can acquire him, you go and acquire him. I talked about it. He is the ideal center for now and the future. Big, physical type of center that can defend, protect the rim. Him alongside Anthony Davis will give you the best defensive front court in the league at that point, right? And even Eric Pincus talked about how it would be the closest thing that they would have gotten to Ivica Zubac, right? Not as good offensively, but defensively, dude's a monster, give you that physical presence the Lakers have been looking for, but also more give you that piece for now and the future. Now you got your center for the next 10 plus years locked up and out of the way. So now you're just kind of putting in the other pieces, Now you add in a Max Christie and a Dalton Connect, and it's like, okay, well now you got 2, 3, 4 guys that can be your kind of core foundation in the post LeBron and AD era. Now Austin Reeves, if he sticks around, There have been talks that once LeBron leaves that he'll probably want out or he'll probably leave. But we'll see. I could see him wanting to stick around and staying with the Lakers long term. But Eric Pincus talked about what that trade would look like and what type of moves or deals you would potentially have to. Again, keep in mind this is kind of his thoughts. He was saying that something like Christian Wood, right, which is an expiring contract and vet minimum guy, that you could turn into Walker Kessler, matches salary-wise. You could also do a Jalen Hood-Schifino. Supposedly, there were reports probably a month ago now. It might be longer than that. But there was reports after Rob Pelinka declined Jalen Hood-Schifino's option that Utah was actually interested in taking him on as a potential flyer, right? Because, again, he's an expiring contract. Even if you were to re-sign him, you're signing him for dirt cheap. So if you're the Jazz, it's like, hey, we get another young development guy, kind of get a look at him, kind of see, okay, do we like him, do we not like him, kind of get a look the rest of the season, kind of like what they did with THT, right? Similar situation. So my guess is you'd probably have to do Jalen Hood-Schifino, which I would actually prefer over Christian Wood. Now, Eric Pincus talked about how Christian Wood, because of lack of defense, kind of the direction the Lakers want to go and kind of be an elite defensive team and kind of set the tone defensively. But Christian Wood, you need that balance offensively, right? Christian Wood, I just think his versatility would just be seamless in this current situation with the Lakers and under JJ Redick and the type of offense stuff that he runs, his ability to stretch the floor, right? He'd get to play kind of more 4 full-time too, and so you can kind of have him be your primary backup to Anthony Davis at times and allow Anthony Davis I'm talking about the 4, right? So I guess LeBron be the backup at the 4 for LeBron, also slot in alongside Anthony Davis, slot alongside Walker Kessler at times, right? Just give you that flexibility and that versatility plus more size and length. I don't hate the idea. Eric Pincus's logic was like you're turning an injured guy into a productive player, which, yes, is kind of the same logic with like a Jalen Schifino. It's one of the reasons why I liked the move for Shake Milton, because you turned a guy, which is really unfortunate, by the way. Just time out for a second. Like Maxwell Lewis, he's supposed to miss a couple weeks, I think the report came out. So it's unfortunate, right? Finally gets an opportunity and, injury happens. So, I'm rooting for him, right? He's a former Laker. He was the guy I wanted the Lakers to draft. Fortunately, just didn't work out. Timing wasn't right. But back on track it's why I liked that move, right? Because you turned a non-rotation, non-productive player into a potential rotation productive player. Even if he isn't in the rotation, just a guy that can slot in and trust, hit the three ball, defend, run and initiate the offense, gives you that versatility there that I think just goes a real long way for the Lakers, for a guy that wasn't giving you anything and what likely wasn't going to give you anything for the foreseeable future, for at least, another year, 2, 3. Kind of the same logic. The thing is, like, Christian Wood should hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see, but should be back eventually, where Jalen Schifino's never going to be in the rotation, at least this season, right? Like, I would be very shocked if that happens, something bad happened, right? Something drastic happened. So, more realistic that Christian Wood just kind of comes in and also gives you that other big able body, right? I like that, and his versatility, especially on the offensive side of things. I just think you have better balance with Walker Kessler in that. But regardless, whatever, minimum salary to take on Walker Kessler. That was the contract-wise. Then Eric Pincus relayed what he believes it would take asset-wise, which is to remove the protections of the 2027 first. Done. No problem. Don't worry about it. It's yours, right? And then he said one probably unprotected first to go get Walker Kessler. I don't know if that gets that, right? Like, if I'm being honest, right? Like, look, I'm not an insider, I'm just a fan. I'm just a guy, right? That's been blessed and put in the situation to be able to talk to all you fine folks and, just explore these and have conversations and give my opinion and, of course, always hear yours. So let me know down in the comments. But, like, if that's all it took to go get Walker Kessler, why isn't that done right now? Why? Right? Like, if you're telling me you could go get Walker Kessler right now for either Christian Wood or Jalen Hood-Schifino, and all you have to do is just remove the protections and add another first, make it happen. What are we waiting on here? Right? Like, get that over with. Chop, chop. Right? Like, again, we've talked about trading both first for Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton. Right? Like, if all it takes is a first to go get Walker Kessler, because that other first is already out of sight, out of mind. 2027. LeBron might still be here in 2027, right? Like, you're not worried about that 2027 pick. And even if LeBron isn't here, you still are going to have Anthony Davis and Walker Kessler, plus whatever else you have, and you may even be able to get another star by that point. Last thing I'm worried about is that removing that protections, and then if you could give another first and land a Walker Kessler and he can come in, and again, like, what is your best case scenario with that first, outside of, like, of course, drafting a star? Is to get somebody like a Walker Kessler who's young enough, skilled enough, and versatile enough to be your foundation piece for now and the future. Get him. Like, what are we doing? Instead of taking the literal lottery of players, go get a guy that's already proven, a guy that's already shown and displayed. Again, I don't know why Utah wants to trade him to begin with, but for whatever reason they want to, fine. Beautiful. Let's make it happen. Right? So that's why I don't necessarily think it'll just be a first and removing that protections. If it is, the holdup could be just Danny Ainge's reluctancy, because that's kind of what the recent reports and stuff that keep coming out are basically getting at. That, like, Danny Ainge is worried about, like, hey, if I trade Walker Kessler there, like, he doesn't care about them right now, right? Like, if he trades John Collins or Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler Lakers and the Lakers win the championship this year, he doesn't care about that. Like, that's not where his thought process is. His thought process is those later picks, like, what do they look like then? But here's the thing. They're the Lakers. Chances are they're probably going to be good back at that point, or at least good enough to where you're not going to get a lottery pick. Now, look, I understand the Lakers had those years where they were bad, but there's a lot of circumstances that go into that, right? That wouldn't or shouldn't happen this go around, right? And you look at kind of, okay, LeBron leaves. Once he leaves, another star is probably coming pretty quickly. I mean, when Kobe Bryant retired, LeBron came like, what, a year or two later? Right? So, like, I don't think it's going to be that far of a turnaround before you get that other star. So by the time those picks are ready to convey, you're probably, like, Walker Kessler's probably not going to be, I mean, it might be a difference maker, but he's not going to be like, oh, man, we just gave them, Joel Embiid. Right? Like, I don't think it's that big of an issue. Look, I hope the Lakers can end up landing Walker Kessler. Fingers crossed. It's, like I said, it's one of those things where don't expect it. Don't count on it. If it happens, beautiful. Grab Kessler and let's go, right? We're all going to be pumped. We're all going to talk about it. We're all going to be very excited. But don't get your hopes up, right? This is something that's probably very unlikely. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you want Kessler? Do you not want Kessler? Do you think it's not worth the hassle and the headache? Would you trade, Jalen Uchifino or a Christian Wood plus removing the protections and adding another first? Or do you think that's too much? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.